I'm trying to turn everybody into Trump voters, but it ain't
Oh
going too
God.
well. So,
It's not
but
happening.
Oh man, I'm still contemplating on what I'm gonna do because both to me both parties is just like
come
you
come
already
I
know.
don't
come
know.
join us.
Maybe I think I might write myself in on the ballot.
But
Or
we
shoot,
we
right?
we
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna write my dead cat name on there.
Daisy for
Daisy
president.
for president. Daisy for president.
Well,
That's what I'm gonna do.
we on the Diddy thing. We just started talking about the Diddy thing, so you right on time with it. And
Oh, what I
Okay.
was gonna say was that I think there's a happiness to see people fall sometimes. Um, Unfortunately, but I think with Diddy in particular, I think there's more happiness to see him fall, especially after seeing that video of him beating old girl.
Cassie,
And when you see an abuser, when you see a crime happening, when you see video evidence of them doing something atrocious, then there's a greater joy in seeing them fall. So I think
yeah,
that's what it is. Mm-hmm.
I think we as a culture, we some people do take joy in the downfall of somebody, especially somebody who's been perceived to be on top for a long time.
right,
When they do fall, a lot of people will celebrate that, rightfully or
Unfortunately.
wrongfully. You know,
yeah,
so that just
Mm-hmm.
people don't
I
like to
agree.
see others winning. I guess for an extended
long,
amount of time in that way. I
Mm-hmm.
guess, but
Yeah. And that's
yeah. But
unfortunate.
to your point, I think with Diddy specifically, after that Cassie video came out, it was like, how long can we, you know, uplift this man when it's right in front of us?
right,
Right.
Mhm.
Exactly.
So,
There's no
yeah.
denying it at that point. And then he came out and admitted it. He didn't even, go on, on anything and say, "Oh, that wasn't me," or "That was doctored, it was fake," or blah blah blah.
well, there
He
was
went
nothing he
up.
could
He
say at
went there.
that
He
point.
went. There's nothing he could say. Well, he went and apologized.
Going back to
It's
that
not.
point though, so they're basically investigating the fact that he had like professional male escorts that Diddy basically had captive, and they were pretty much the main focus of the freak offs. So 1,000 bottles of lube on the wall. That was for, it's like when the freak offs be happening, Diddy basically buys like a couple of floors of hotel rooms.
Right.
So for the freak off rooms, he'd be having like bottles of lube in there, some dildos. So it'd be like freak off gifts for the occasion and all of that. So to have male escorts all the time and having them in control is basically sex trafficking, man. Because he'd be having them trouble from everywhere, man. So that's a problem.
That's
So that
weird though. I'm wondering. I'm
Ugh.
wondering.
So I'm
No, go ahead. Go ahead,
sorry.
Wanda. Please go ahead.
So I just wanna what's your name? Odias?
yes,
Okay. So the men were he was sex trafficking the men.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
So yeah, so
I didn't know that.
when he bring him in, he be drugging them up and all of that. So that's why the drugs are there. It's this drug called Pink, and Pink is basically some real expensive stuff, strictly for like Hollywood people. So Puff got this drug dealer, and he be like mixing the stuff up, and then he just called it Pink. So they found a lot of pink in there too, along with guns and all of that stuff. So yeah,
So are they alleging that he like forced them to take it? Like, I mean, is it a crime to say, hey, I'm gonna pay y'all to come through, come do your thing. I got these other women you're gonna be, sleeping with or whatever,
right,
and I
right.
got some drugs. I mean, I
Well, it's a
wonder is
crime to say I'm going to pay y'all to do that. That's called prostitution. That's a crime.
Yeah, yeah. So Puff don't even be paying them though. Puff get paid by like these Hollywood people that come in, so they just basically pay them. Then they go to these rooms and then they just get it in. So I don't know. I guess it's the thing of Puff is famous. So yeah, I'm trying to hang with Puff.
right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, they don't get paid for that
Taking advantage of him.
unless the Hollywood people be paying them. Like, all right, thanks here, nigga. You know what I mean? But other
Here.
than that.
But now the twin, why you looking like that?
It's just nasty. It's just
Nah, you know what?
nasty. Just
You you
ugh.
know you know you know that room is nasty for doing rooms is nasty for sure. But the thing about it is like I'm trying to understand like I'm trying to understand the crime. I'm not saying there isn't a crime. I'm just trying to wrap my head around the crime because
Yeah, no,
so
that
we
makes
have
sense.
huh?
Yeah,
What is
Well,
it?
No,
you
I
You
was
want
gonna
have
say,
to.
no,
You
Yeah,
yeah,
mean
that
I'm
like
makes
saying,
sense.
as to
like trying
how?
to find where's the crime. It
I'm
doesn't,
trying
it
to
doesn't, there's no
understand it.
crime
I
in
think it
in
depends on
being
where
like
you
a
go.
pervert, being nasty.
Right.
Like,
Well, I think it's the trafficking part is if you are keeping people um what's the word? Keeping people against their will
Right.
and then moving them from one state to another for the purposes of prostitution, then that's trafficking,
That's what I
regardless of how old
understand
they
too.
are.
I
That's a crime.
now
That's the crime.
that's how I see sex trafficking. I see it like that, but
Hmm.
I don't. I'm trying to understand him. Forcibly, like to me, sex trafficking is you go and grab people and they're kind of kidnapped and they're kind of forced to work as sex workers, and
No,
that's
that's
trafficking. That's how
not.
I
That's
always
not.
saw it.
That's not. I mean, people think about it that way, but trafficking doesn't need to meet that criteria of somebody going to be kidnapped. A lot of people. That's how a lot of young people fall into to trafficking because they are lured in by promises of cars and money and all this stuff, and then once they're lured in, now they are forced to participate in acts with, let's say, well, you got to sleep with 50 guys today, and then they start shooting you up with drugs and
Oh
getting
yeah,
you hooked on the drugs,
yeah.
and then they start threatening your family. Well, if you leave, we're going to kill your family, we're going to kill you. So it's that psychological control to where it's like you're not physically being held a lot of times. Sometimes they might put you in a room or something that you can't get out of, but they have you so brainwashed and so manipulated. And then when they take you from one place to another, that's considered trafficking when there's threats and coercion and extortion happening,
Well,
which
I guess what you're
I don't know.
describing. Well, guess what you're describing to me. That sounds like trafficking, but I'm wondering. I almost don't believe that that's what was happening. It almost seems to me. Obviously, they haven't
But
like
would you have believed that Diddy could have done what he did to Cassie if you hadn't seen it on video?
I
Yeah,
could,
man, that's what he did it to. Yeah,
yeah, I could believe that about Cassie. I'm just trying to understand the. I'm not saying he couldn't do it. Not that I can't believe it. I'm trying to wrap my hand around, or wrap my hand around, wrap my head around the logistics of these sex workers like against their will. How do you do that? Because it's not like usually sex trafficking rings. It's not like I round up all these girls. They're gonna come work for me and do this stuff, and then I'm like, all right, I'll see y'all in a couple of weeks. I'll call you back again. So to me, it was like the way it was described. It sounded like he hires male sex workers who are already doing what they do, just like you hire
Hmm.
prostitutes to come strip, and then maybe they'll be having sex with dudes at a stripping party, and then they'll leave, and then you're like, yo, we're gonna do this again next month. Let me call them again. That's what it sounds like to me, but I don't know.
But if they're
Oh,
alleging
it sounds to
trafficking,
me like they were held hostage and
I
probably
they
didn't
couldn't.
get
once
that though.
once he once he hired them, he probably felt like, well, now you gonna do what, maybe he
right.
hired them under the
Be-
guise of, okay, you're gonna do this, but he's got the big head, he's got all this
But where do
power and
you
money
keep them? It's usually when you're sex
in a
trafficking
hotel
people, you
room.
house them somewhere. So where do you
Shit,
keep
man, he
all these?
got 3 houses,
the
man.
same way
Cali,
R.
New York,
Kelly
and
did.
Florida. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So
Same way
he can
R.
keep
Kelly
them.
did it.
Oh yeah, and I think it was the house in Los Angeles. Man, he have a tunnel up under there. The FBI found a tunnel in that
I heard
motherfucker.
Really?
too.
Yeah,
What?
yes sir, yes
I
sir.
also I heard that
Wow.
That's
So
crazy.
do
he's
you
El
guys
Chapo now,
remember
that,
huh?
but that don't necessarily mean that tunnel was for that purpose. Here's
It was
here's the
it
What
thing.
was
do
it was
Just,
for,
who
for a lot of purposes.
B
but just
B
playing
who
devil's
has a
advocate.
tunnel in their house for
Here's
what?
what I'm saying.
What you
Hear
got a
me out.
tunnel
Just
for?
playing devil's advocate. If you're a celebrity of that nature, and we're talking about in LA, where I don't know how many celebs have gotten killed in LA, like from home invasions and shit. Like that may be my escape route if something goes down in here. I'm just
So
saying
what? He's El
the
Chapo
purpose of
now.
the tunnel may have been something completely different. It's
But that ain't for the
in the
only purpose
context of
though.
what we're saying, the tunnel sounds bad, but
It's a
the
lot of
reason
purposes.
for the tunnel could very well have been something completely different.
I can only give the only response I can give to that is that's all I
I'm
can.
just saying it's
That's the
possible.
only
That
thing
may
I can
not
give
have
on that
been
one.
the reason for the tunnel. but the total being
Mm,
there don't help his case.
mm.
Hmm.
No,
Hell
it
no.
don't help. It don't help
What
that
was you
case at
saying? What
all.
were you gonna say, Father?
No, I was just saying how I don't know if you guys remember Dawn from Danity Kane.
I
Hmm.
was about to
Mm-hmm.
say that. Yes.
Yes, she had spoke.
Yeah.
They said apparently she had spoke out and
Repeat.
saying how
Same thing.
there was one point in time, yeah, the same thing how she got put into this van and they were trying to take her somewhere. However, when she tried to get out of the van from the inside, she couldn't. There was no locks like to unlock from the inside. Only someone from the outside would have to open up the door in order for her to leave. And so she said something to the effect of her having a phone and being able to call her father and how her father had to track, I don't know,
Mhm.
come and pick her up or something like that.
I remember that
So
story
yeah,
too. Yeah.
there's a
Where
lot
there's
that's
smoke, there's fire, huh?
Yeah, man. Yo, that dude
yeah.
wild as hell.
Well, the interesting
He
thing is
did
that
too much.
he was ready to
Oh,
put up. Everybody knows he's ready to put up. I love
I
BA
think it was
Spice right now.
at first it was 50 million and then
I
he
love the
said
devil's
75
advocate.
million.
What do you say? Oh,
Yeah, at first it was 50 million. They was like, nah. And then he said 75 million. And then they said, nah again,
bro,
man.
when they won't take 75 million, they really want you in jail. Like,
Yo, man, they found some stuff, man. They definitely found some shit, man.
well,
To turn
the
it down.
It's
the feds do have that 95% conviction rate for a reason, though, too. So,
the
you know.
question we should probably be asking is, if this has been going on for so long, why now?
same reason why R. Kelly, he was out for so many years and it took a while for him to
Listen,
be exposed, right? It's the same
listen.
thing.
That's why I still listen to R. Kelly to this day. I don't. I'm not one of the people that believe that we gonna stop playing the music because LaFonda.
Hell no. Hell no.
I'm in Chicago.
I'm playing.
And I've been here my whole life. I was here when he first popped off. I was here when he was parked outside Kenwood. I was here when he was
All
throwing
the
them
time.
parties at that house in the university in Olympia Fields.
Olympia
I was here
Fields.
for the whole thing. When he married
Mhm.
that little girl, we was here. Nobody stopped listening to him when all this stuff happened. So
Right.
when 20 years later, when the TV show comes out, we're surviving him now, and now we're gonna cancel him. No, it's too late. It's too late because we shouldn't have heard none of them hits because he should have been locked up when he married Aaliyah. But nobody canceled him then,
That's what I
so
was
I'm not
thinking.
gonna cancel him now. In terms of music wise,
Well,
as a
B,
person,
I'm sorry,
absolutely,
but
plenty of reasons to cancel him before the Surviving R. Kelly show came out, and we were so
I mean,
enthralled with
people
the
did
hits that we
cancel
just
him.
didn't.
Well,
So
but here's the thing. Like the parallel to Puff, right? So I think I think the parallel is that you have somebody who is probably a mixture of crimes and then scumbag stuff. So scumbag stuff that's not illegal mixed in with a little bit of crime. So that's what I'm trying to figure out right now is how much crime is mixed in with the scumbag stuff. Because we could say
right,
he's a scumbag or Puff is not known over the years. He's not known to be nice. He's known obviously to most of the artists who was on Bad Boy. We all know most of them was screwed over. We know he messed up Sean's life because obviously Sean took the rap and all that stuff. So Craig Mack, Black Rob, Loon, all these people, and not that it's Puff's fault for every single person, but he was just known not to do business. We all remember the locks,
Mhm.
free the locks. It goes on and on, right? But the
Yeah.
question is, how much crime is in there in this thing? That's what I'm curious to see. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I
I
have a
agree.
question for you guys.
Yes.
So this is something that I heard. I heard that he may have been involved with the killing of both Biggie and Pac, but I thought that it was Suge Knight. So what is
That's
y'all?
that's
Because
like
you talking
almost
about crime, right? So
that's almost like that's almost like
What
the
would he have
Kennedy
to gain,
assassination.
though?
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Because it
Yeah.
depends on the angle you come from with it. But go ahead, Rock B, and then
Yeah.
I'll say something
um,
else.
They investigating that too, though, by the way.
No, well, Keefe D is on trial right
Right,
now, saying that Puff paid him
right.
for
Right.
the Tupac thing. So
$1 million.
there's a guy in court as we speak, and that's what his defense is, that Puff paid for the Tupac hit. Um, that being said, I don't think Puff had anything to do with my personal opinion. I don't think he had anything to do with Big. I think Big being killed was a direct result of Pac being killed. So if Puff had his hands on that, it was indirectly, meaning that you allegedly
Right.
steering the wheel for the Pac thing led to
Yeah.
Big's thing.
What you
Right.
did caused the effect of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Cause and effect.
that caused the effect of. So
Yeah.
that's how I felt about that. But there is KBD is really he's been saying that for years, that
A
Puff paid
long
him $1 million
time.
for that Tupac hit. So that's not he's
Yeah.
not coming up with that now. He's been saying that since then. But now that they've actually put him on trial for that murder, he's saying it in court. So that's actually
Mhm.
happening.
Yeah,
So
I only mentioned that because you
No,
you mentioned crime,
that's a
so
great that's a great topic too because there's so much. My personal opinion is like I honestly think that I don't think Puff paid for the hit. What I personally think is that obviously he was paying the Southside Crips and getting protection from them. It's all known because he was
Mhm.
trying to have protection from Suge and the Bloods when he's out in the West Coast. But I think that Pac, if he had not gotten to that fight with Orlando Anderson, he that probably wouldn't happen that night. You know what I'm saying? I don't think they were gonna shoot him. I think it was just karma, and I think Pac, he was too excited by watching that Tyson fight, and he was just all
Got
in
caught
on the
up.
whole Mob Pyru stuff, and just the people he was around. Pac was a very, like, as years gone by, we've been able to kind of see that he was extremely impulsive and emotional. So he would
Very
do things
excitable.
that, like, it didn't really make any sense for him to go fight this guy. So I think that it's just a weird, God have a weird way of setting up scenarios where it's like he happened to get in this fight and then they just happened to run into them, and not happen to run into them. I think they were wanted to kill him, but I think it was
They
because
were
of that
looking for
fight.
him.
That's my
Yeah.
opinion. I
well,
don't think Puff
I
paid the money.
think there's still some kind of validity to the he paid us. Maybe they didn't make. And I hear what you're saying. So like, you're right, but maybe he did. He was in contact and had those conversations with
Yeah.
TVD and them, because I don't think he sticks to that story for this long. If there
You know
wasn't
what?
some
But
kind
that's
of
a
truth
good
to it.
point. I
I agree
believe
with you
that.
though.
I
Yeah.
believe that it's possible that he paid them some money after the fact, like, good. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got rid of this guy because he
Yeah,
was
some
obviously a
there was
threat.
some kind of interaction there, whether
Yeah.
that
I
was
believe it.
whatever that was. Because I don't
Yeah.
think
Right.
if you're a Keefe D, you stick to that
Yeah.
story
Right.
for
A
that
grown man.
long
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
Right.
something wasn't there.
So
So
I think he definitely paid Keefe and them. But the thing is that it happened too soon. Everybody was going to that Tyson fight. So
Right.
um Orlando Anderson actually robbed one of Tupac's guys, man, about 2 weeks prior to that.
Right.
Took his chain.
Right.
So dude seen Orlando and went up to Pac like, yo, Pac, man, that's dude that took my chain. He
Right.
was like,
right,
what? So,
Right.
he went over there and did that thing. And
Right.
so when they shot him, Keefe D called Puff and said, yo, was that us? You know what I mean? So he
Right.
said, was that us? Like,
Right. Puff called him. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, so
Gotcha.
he was making sure that they actually killed him that day and not when they were actually setting it up to actually kill him. So they killed him earlier to when they were supposed to actually kill him.
Okay. That's
Because Tupac was
interesting.
beating him up. So
and you remember, guys,
Interesting way to look
he
at it.
had some threatening songs. I remember that song, and oh my god, I repent, man.
Hmm.
I used to love that song. Grab your blocks when you see Tupac. Pull up the
I
Hit
cops
him
when
used
you
up.
to.
see Tupac. If you listen to the lyrics to that song, he was going
You're not
at
supposed to be even
everybody.
thinking about songs like that, LaFonda. Now
I know.
you are.
Think
I
about it.
know. But
I'm
I'm just
still a
going based off
diehard
of, like,
Pac fan.
Yeah.
just going based off of the lyrics of that song and like who he was aiming at, who he was talking about, and
Yeah.
he talked about Puff, he talked about Biggie, he talked about Junior Mafia, Lil Kim, he talked about all of them.
Yeah.
So
So y'all think overall that I think it's possible he was involved. He was involved in that, but so a lot of people are saying it's all karma now coming around with all this stuff. You know where he's at now.
Hmm.
So with him denying the bail, he's
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
not going to get out, and he's facing probably some serious time.
I think he's
I
gonna end
want to
up like
play
R.
something
Kelly.
because I'm sure maybe y'all know about this guy, maybe not. This guy Gene Deal, he's the
Oh yeah,
bodyguard close
yeah.
to
His
Puff.
former security guard.
They've been
Yeah.
talking about him for years. You can find so much stuff. But there's a clip I want to play. I'm gonna share my screen. I want to get everybody's feedback because he he doesn't like Puff, but he's very honest about how he
He
feel
don't.
about things. But he did an interview with Art of Dialogue recently, and he kind of laid out something. I just wanted to get y'all feedback. I thought it was interesting. So I'm gonna play this real quick.
It's people might not understand. It's difficult when you see a brother that has so much promise become an icon as far as in the music business and stuff that he did, to turn around and um, just tear his whole life down. But it's all because of his mentors and the people that trained him and taught him the music business. You know, it's all about the people who trained and taught him the music business, because Puff wasn't he wasn't born a monster. You know what I'm saying? He was made into a monster, brother. Do you understand what I'm saying? He was made into a monster from the stuff that happened to him, the things that he had to do. You understand? The things that he had to do to become who he is. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like this, brother. You never like something so much that you can't do without, and you never be willing to do anything to get where you want to be at. You got to have principles, you got to have morals, you got to keep with that stuff. And in that music business, a lot of that stuff get thrown out the window. You understand? And that's what happened to him. He started doing the things to other people that was done to him. To keep it frank, he was doing the things to other people that was done to him.
I was saying that this guy, he's been pretty much shitting on Diddy for years, like basically telling how despicable he is and giving a lot of information and for years. But he did give a perspective. So I guess my question is, how much of it do you think, people who groomed him, like the Clive Davis, people like that he looked
Davis.
up to, do y'all feel like Puff became that way by being groomed and maybe some of the stuff he did was done to him, or was he always a slithery, nasty dude?
They could have made him like that. I also believe that because I heard that he was in a relationship with Clive Davis. So
Yeah.
Clive Davis was in the music industry for years. So that just may have happened. I've heard so many things that's gone on in the music industry
Hmm.
after a few years, and it's a lot of demonic things that I found out that takes place. And so you have to definitely protect the people, your surroundings, because you have demons. And what happens is that spirits transfers. And so it may have been a point in time where he was just who he was or whatever,
Hmm.
and then as he got into the music industry they may have uh turned him a certain way, but also that narcissistic. I think he just has a lot of mental issues that go on. And I also believe that when you talked about karma, the Bible says you reap what you sow. So whatever
Right.
you do to people, it is a biblical principle. It's going to come back around to you.
In terms of was he groomed to be this way?
Yeah.
Probably in a sense, yeah. I think, yeah,
Yeah.
that's. But I also feel like part of that is him too. I don't think you know you can groom people or whatever and teach him how to be a ruthless businessman and all that, but some of that stuff is his personality too.
Just
So we
personal.
can't
Yes, the
we
mindset.
can't
Yeah.
skip over that. And the reason I had the face earlier when you played the clip is because he said the when he spoke about um people have to have morals and like integrity, that kind of thing. It that always hits me because it's like you're saying it now, but you were there. you know, your morals and integrity didn't pull you out of the situation when you were in it, when you were getting paid from it. But
Hmm.
now, after the fact, now it becomes, you know, let's talk about, you know, it becomes immoral when you're no longer involved in it. And I guess that always gets me when
Well,
people,
to play devil's advocate for a moment, do we know his level of involvement though, and why he stayed? There could have been reasons, good reasons why he stayed. Like, he's paid to be a bodyguard. Maybe he
Oh yeah.
stayed because he felt like, yeah, this is crazy. Maybe I need to be here to make sure this doesn't get too out of hand or nobody gets too hurt, or him feeling like maybe he can intervene if something really crazy happens to be a watchdog, or
or maybe you were
it could have been
enjoying the
that.
lifestyle and then got fired and now you want to do the tell all.
But you know what though?
It could be,
You know what's
could
interesting is
be.
that he
That's a
actually,
possibility.
a lot of the stuff you're saying, Twin, he actually said that in another interview in regards to Cassie. Because he was asked that, like, did he ever think about, like, going to, turning Puff in or whatever the case is. And he was actually saying that that was what he felt like. He felt like when he was around, he said he wanted to stay close to make sure it didn't get out of hand. That's what he was saying. So it's interesting.
But
So
it did get out of hand.
no, that's a good point though. B. That's a good point. I think to answer your question though, I think the reason why, because I was gonna play this other video with her, Cassie's makeup artist, but I don't want to play that video. But she's talking about how she knew back in 2010 because she had witnessed her, basically she was doing Cassie's makeup or whatever. Diddy came in the room in the hotel and they went into another room and she heard a bunch of screaming. Cassie came out, her nose was busted and all this stuff. This is back in 2010. And the makeup artist was saying that she's a good friend of Cassie and she just wanted to she basically was glad when Cassie came out in XYZ. But a lot of the question is like why you didn't say anything. And then but interestingly enough, a lot of people was like they were scared and they didn't really know what to do because Puff. I mean,
He
I was having
powerful.
this conversation I was having this conversation with Faith earlier. We were talking about Puff, and she was like, I can see why they don't want to let him out because he might be trying to coerce witnesses and this and that. And I was like, well, probably my opinion now, probably not so much now, but probably before because I think he wielded a lot of power before. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So I wouldn't quite call him a mobster, but he did have a lot of resources and things he could do before all this came out. Now he got the heat on him, so I think you people are a little more safe if they want to go against him and talk. But before all this stuff came out, I think a lot of people was like, "Yo, you come out against him, man, you're not gonna eat." Like especially in entertainment because he wielded a lot of power. So I'm just saying that
Yeah.
that probably
If there's rumors
that's
about
probably a
him,
reason.
yeah, and if there was rumors about him, setting up hits on people as powerful as Biggie
Oh
and
yeah.
Tupac, people are gonna be, of course, you're gonna be scared. Like, man, if he could, whether it's true or not is one thing, but if you just think, like, man, if he could be involved in something like that, what could he do to me?
Everybody that was trying to come out with a tell-all book is dead now, and I'll be sure almost died. Power,
You
man.
say I'll be sure.
Power to kill you, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Because Kimberly
I
Porter was
remember
about to come
seeing that
out
thing about him
with
in
a tell-all
Hollywood.
book, and Kim Porter
Yeah.
died.
I was
Yeah.
gonna bring up Kim Porter because that was another one I wanted to get y'all opinion on because she apparently died of something called lobar
All
pneumonia,
right.
supposedly.
Come on.
Um and it was kind of sudden. So
Yeah.
Yeah, she was a little young to
she knew
just
a lot
be.
of stuff too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I
High
I
rank
love I
witches.
love all the perspective, you know what I'm saying? And I ain't saying you wrong, I don't know. I just get off the train at a certain point with the whole Illuminati and everybody blood sacrifices and they're sacrificing monkeys and all this craziness. Like
But
it could be true, I
but
don't know. But there's we can
mm,
all agree there's definitely something going on with Puff. Um something going on there. But
can I ask
I
a
just
question?
don't
Maybe.
know. Well, for one, he ain't getting bail. So
no.
I heard earlier that he was on quote unquote suicide watch, but I don't know if they just put him on that in general. Um, but I believe he's locked up in the same place that Jeffrey Epstein was locked up at. And now
Yeah, he got murdered.
Epstein, I think Epstein got murdered. I don't think he committed suicide because they say he committed suicide. I think he got murdered, and Epstein knew a lot. And Epstein knew a lot of stuff. So my thing is that I'm thinking that Puff. My
Ah,
question is, who's next? I mean, there were definitely some popular people at these parties, so I don't know who's gonna
oh
be
yeah,
next, but I'm wondering. It's
yeah.
interesting.
I don't know about who's next, but
Well, can
I
I
know a lot
ask
of
a
people that was
question that
involved
I
in it.
guess
And I don't agree with TD Jakes being at his party. But
What?
I won't go. I don't agree with that. Why is he there at the party?
Why?
I don't think
Why you
so.
don't agree with it?
I don't think so.
That he should be at those parties. For what? You're a man of God. Why are you there?
I
So what
think
that
Maybe
why
mean?
would he risk his
That would mean nothing.
reputation?
maybe it's
He seems a little too smart for that.
That don't
Wait, you said
mean
He
Just
was
nothing.
listen
there.
to the,
There's video evidence. He was there.
He was definitely
light
there.
and darkness don't go
wait.
together.
TD Jakes
He
was at
was
the Puffy
definitely
party.
there.
Yeah.
Yes, multiple
Yeah,
times.
because even if he may have had good intentions, the people that are not
What was he doing?
that
Was
don't
he
believe in God,
he was
they're
praying?
gonna
Well,
He
look
was
at him like, oh, he's a man of God. Why is
they,
he there?
was he praying over the orgy? I want y'all to have a good. I
I'm
want y'all to
trying
have a
so
good
hard not
orgy.
to.
That's not funny.
Praise
I mean,
the.
it's funny, but it's not
No, I'm
funny.
just. I'm just saying. Like, what was he there?
He was
Well,
like
Father,
dancing,
yo,
like on
it's
a
like
stage or
this, man. If
whatever.
you a man of God, you wouldn't be nowhere near Puff or nobody that's involved in any type of party that Puff is doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Let me
Exactly.
say, for
what
Even
they
if
example,
said
you
about
if
T.D.
you're
Jakes was a little
even if
bit
it's good
more.
intentions, even if your intentions is to go and pray, why don't he just have Puff come to him and then
you
he
remember
pray
Kirk
for
Cameron, right,
Puff? You
from
don't have to
Growing
go
Pains,
to the
right?
party.
You remember Kirk Cameron from Growing
Say it
Pains,
again.
right? Do
hmm
you remember Kirk Cameron from the Growing Pains?
Yes,
He's a man of God for real. You don't never hear nothing about him. You don't see him nowhere.
nothing
He
about
ain't
him.
messing with Puff. He be at the crib. Why TD Jakes is at Puff crib partying, man?
You know
Just
what I
let me
because.
ask
mean?
y'all a question. Do you think that the government has it out for powerful black artists, or do you think that a lot of powerful black artists are just stupid with their power and their money, like
Both.
Yeah,
like Young
Both.
Thug for example, like he's facing RICO charges. A lot of the people that he got arrested with are already out because they took deals.
hmm
What's his name? I think it was Gunna. He took an Alford plea. Um, they're trying to put this man away for 100 years. I mean, and they're trying to use his lyrics against him
I don't have a problem with that.
as evidence of a crime. I
I don't have a
mean,
problem with that. I
yeah.
don't.
you don't have a problem with
the
that?
young the
I'm gonna tell
young
you
the
You
why.
young
don't?
artists now it depends, so it's two different things. Like you have the younger generation of artists who are um they're a lot stupider. I just keep it funky. I don't know how else to say it. They're a lot stupider. They're just much more like, I'm gonna put the crimes on record, and they actually trying to do the things they rapping about. As far as the celebrities, like if we take a couple of them, like Bill Cosby, P Diddy, um R Kelly, Russell Simmons to an extent. I would say honestly, they just was stupid with what was going on. You know what I'm saying? Because here's to me, Puff and R. Kelly are good examples because they're people who are doing certain things and they probably kept taking it farther and farther and farther on. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
I agree.
I had done a reaction video yesterday about the I mean y'all everybody saw the video. Maybe you didn't, but most people saw the video with him and Fabulous on Drink Champs when he was talking. It
Oh
was
yeah.
him, Fabulous,
Yeah.
and Lucas. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, "Yo, you ain't never party with me," you know. And it's just a lot of sus behavior. You kind of see it, and I think over time, stuff we didn't see starts to just come up. Same with R. Kelly, you didn't necessarily see it per se, but you did see it as far as him marrying Aaliyah, just certain behavior. You kind of see it seeping through, and then it becomes so much that you can't hide it no more. So I
Well,
think
Right.
I think in Kel's scenario specifically, marrying Aaliyah happened early, like super early. But when he figured out that, hey, I got away with this, right? I married this child.
Yeah.
Nobody said anything.
Yep.
Now I have more freedom to how far can I push it? You know what I
Right.
mean? So yeah, it's a build. You kind of compound until you get to a certain point. It's like, and nobody's going to say anything to stop you. And
Well, when you
Puff,
when you when you look at people when they start recording it, that's what I mean. Like it gets so crazy where it's like, you
that's
know,
what I mean. Because if I went and publicly married this person and it's out in the world and nobody, I'm not in trouble for this. Now I'm going to push my limits. Now I'm gonna,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna test boundaries now
right?
because now I can push it further and further because no one's checking me.
Yeah.
Same thing with Puff. It might have started out with certain behaviors or certain rumors and speculation, but as he got more comfortable and nobody checked this behavior, now I can get
Mm-hmm.
more open with it. Now I can go on Drink Champs and make Fabulous super uncomfortable and ask him why he won't party with me for his birthday. You know what I mean? Like, did you see how uncomfortable Fab looked
Oh,
in that
listen,
scenario? You know what I mean?
Right.
But
you
that
see
wouldn't
his
have
face.
happened 12 years prior. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You hit a certain comfort level where you can just now nobody's checking my behavior. I can do
Right.
whatever I want, and I'm just going to do whatever I want. And that's where we are with it.
Well, and that's true because
Mhm.
Puff is far more. He was far more powerful than like a R. Kelly. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Hmm.
Far more powerful, in my opinion. You know, because I mean they both were super wealthy, but Puff had tentacles in every aspect of entertainment as far as resources. You know what I'm saying? Human resources. So you know what I mean? Like
Because everybody around you is as opposed to checking what you're doing and like, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, they
You're
support
you're the reason you're supporting all of them. You're the reason they're all eating.
you.
Yeah.
So
right,
nobody's gonna bite the hand that feeds them.
Yeah.
They're
right,
gonna sit there and
Yeah.
watch you
Right.
do your debauchery, and they're gonna be like, "Well, we ain't gonna say nothing." You know what I mean? Because you're the
yeah.
person who's
And
paying
there,
everybody.
sure, there's a lot of people
Yeah.
who joined in with it.
When that
So
people enjoy
that's
that
just
check coming, when that check is coming, they don't want that check to stop.
and
They
that's where
want to
I
be
have the
attached to that
problem.
power and that
Like,
money.
especially going back to the Kels thing. Like, all you people saw it. Y'all were complicit in it. But don't when the money gets low or when the fame starts to dissipate, let's not act like y'all wasn't part of that
Right.
problem when it was happening. And people were really acting like they weren't part of the issue when y'all
Mhm.
watched it. Y'all were there. Y'all watched it happen. But the money was good. So why say something?
It's a
So
tough
I
thing.
hate when people take the moral high road at that point. Like, nah, where was those morals when the shit was going down?
I'm gonna
Because
be
some
honest
Mhm.
with you.
people,
It's tough because I feel you, but you got a lot of people that's like, man, that ain't my business. So there's some things that happen like right in front of
and that's
you, and then
that's
there's things
fine,
that.
but
Mhm.
don't then turn around when the shit go bad and be like, well, yeah, shit was crazy, and I was there. Don't do the tell all
Got
if
you.
you wasn't going. You know what I mean? If it wasn't your business and you ignored it, then don't wait
Keep,
till you
keep
can
ignoring it.
profit from the story to do a tell all.
Mhm.
No, I can respect that.
That's true.
I can
That's
respect that.
true.
People are opportunistic with it too. You know what I'm saying? But
Absolutely.
it's definitely. So the thing now to me is that it's kind of crazy because let's say most of the legal analysts who are like looking at this case are like the likelihood that he'll be found innocent is slim. But even if he was to get off, I think two things. I think even if he was to be acquitted, for one, I don't think his reputation would ever recover.
Will
For one,
survive. Yeah.
and then two, even if he did get out, and let's just say his reputation was to recover, which it wouldn't, but let's just say it did, those civil lawsuits are gonna burn up the rest of his money.
As U.S. Attorney Damian Williams promised earlier this week, he said this is an ongoing investigation and that they will be speaking to more people. We found out that these two individuals, and we have actually spoken to one of them, they are both sex workers, currently sex workers. One of them said that they had an interaction with Diddy in 2014, and they are willing to tell the feds what they know about that interaction. And Another one said
Damn, is that the
that they
crib?
are willing, and not only willing, but have been subpoenaed to go before the grand jury.
Who's laughing?
Why are you
Yo, man,
laughing?
the sex workers is
Diaz
mad
is
at him, man.
laughing.
The sex workers is mad.
Why didn't he go to a country where he couldn't be extradited?
Why? Why
Yeah.
did? Why did he didn't? Why? How come he didn't flee? You saying?
Why? Yeah, you can go. There's countries where they don't have extradition laws. You could have went somewhere where they couldn't have brought
Nah,
you
they was
back.
watching him too long. They would have arrested him before he made it to the plane.
I heard that
He was
you talking
already out
about
of the
Diddy?
country, though, right?
You talking about Diddy? Why
Yeah.
didn't he go to? I heard that he did, and that it could be a rumor that he was up for it was possible execution. I'm like, they don't do that here in New York City, so had
Well,
to
Yeah.
be
from what
someplace.
I understand, he was he well, they say that he spending most of his time in Miami, and then he voluntarily came back to New York because he saw the indictment coming. I don't think Diddy, honestly, I don't to me, I don't think he could stomach going somewhere and not being known and just living in isolation somewhere for the rest of his life. I don't think he just don't seem like that kind of person. So I think that's why he didn't try to run. I think he really feel like he's going to beat the case. But honestly, I'll be honest with you. I haven't seen. I'm so curious to see the actual charges because I don't know what the actual crime is. I know what they're describing. I'm curious to see. This would be interesting because it's possible the feds could lose. Right? It's
Hmm,
possible.
I don't know.
Everybody's like, oh, I
What was
don't
that
think
percentage
so.
again, man?
That calm
95.
95%.
Yeah, I mean, anything's
Yeah.
possible, I guess. But shit, yeah.
Yeah, it's highly unlikely that he would.
Hey, bro, if the sex traffickers is talking, over with.
It's over.
Done, man.
Yeah,
It's over,
he's
man.
going to prison.
Hmm.
He's going to prison.
I
Yeah.
guess we're gonna find out. I
He's
guess
going
we're
to
gonna
prison.
find out. The video I was actually trying to play was that Little Rob one. I don't know where it went, but I think I had it up here somewhere. But the Little Rob one was interesting because I think he came out and he was the producer working with Puff, and then he said that Puff had you know I'd even like to repeat this stuff because it's so disgusting, but he said Puff was touching him in private areas, and I think that he had set him up with Cuba Gooding Jr., Trey from Boys in the Hood. What the hell is going on in the world?
That's what I heard too.
You see, remember that discussion that we had last week, and I was talking about how men turn into men, turning towards other men. Like this is the reason why,
Now you was
like
bugging out last week.
that.
There is men turning to other men, but that point you made was
Yeah, that
that
was
was such a monkey wrench in the conversation. It was funny. You know what I'm
that
saying?
was
But
wild.
yeah, it was wild.
Prostitution is not legal in most
Right.
states,
At
so
all.
that is a crime.
Is it
It
Typically a
still
probably
is
should
is
be.
misdemeanor.
It
is it
probably
still
should be.
it's still illegal in a
Right.
lot of states?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I thought
yeah,
they
yeah.
the
decriminalized
only place
prostitution.
I
Nah,
know that it's still that it's legal is Las Vegas,
And
and
it's
that's
only
it.
legal in Vegas in the brothels, not like
yeah, right.
I,
Right.
I think they
Not on the
I might
streets
be
and
wrong,
shit.
but I
Yeah.
thought they oh, my fault. Oh, what you say?
But it's like, yeah, he be like drugging them up too though. So yeah, he be
Right.
drugging them up, and then people come in and just run trains on dudes. That's not cool, man. So yeah,
Well, the
it's
other
not really
thing they
busted.
said a lot too is that they were saying a lot of times what he would do is he would and there's other names, man. Yeah, they mentioned a lot of names, man. Like well, put it like this. They said that what he does a lot of times too is he'll get people in compromising positions and take videos and kind of
Oh
use
yeah,
it
yeah,
as
I was recording.
blackmail.
yeah,
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So that
I don't doubt that. That's how you stay in power.
right,
exactly.
right.
That's one of the
So
main rules
that's
right
the
there.
part.
Ugh.
Yep.
What is wrong? What is wrong with these men? Like everybody, all these men want to be with other men. Like I just don't get it. Has this always just been something lurking underneath the surface, or something happening in the world? Like Like
It's
all
been
these
happening in
powerful
the
men,
world,
like
man.
ain't nobody.
Y'all,
I
I don't
mean,
think anybody on this call can explain that shit.
Well, I
I
think
don't think we can.
I just don't get it.
I,
Just
I
I
think you
don't
have two
understand.
different
Like,
things,
damn,
right?
is everybody?
Yeah.
I don't
Everybody want to be with other men? Like,
I don't
it
think
just
it's a
don't make no
gay.
sense.
I don't think it's just a gay thing. I mean, I don't think it's just a gay thing. It is partially a gay thing, but it's also a thing of wanting to control people. You know what I'm
Power and
saying?
Yes,
dominance.
And
that
power. So
absolutely.
he's got a weird thing going on. You know what I'm saying? Because when you look at the Cassie
Hmm.
tape, you look at the fact that he, beating women. You know that he also, at minimum, he's bisexual. I mean, if he's not bisexual,
But
he's bi curious.
I mean, look, it
He got 1,000 bottles of lube, bro. He is not curious about shit.
no.
He knows.
No,
That's for sure.
he know what he doing. I mean, look, to each his own. Okay, if it's not my cup of tea, but you can drink what you want. That's how I feel about it. But it just seemed like all these high profile men who make these claims about their sexuality and their veracity and who they are and all these people that had all this stuff to say about slamming gay people. Now you here the truth comes out. All this whole time they've
The,
been
the
on the
thing though,
low.
y'all, and these people we're talking about now, people of Diddy, the people in that era, it wasn't accepted to be out and gay or bi. You know what I mean? It just wasn't. If he came out now and if he, I mean, got famous now and just said it, people would accept it for what it is, right? Nobody
Right.
would blink
Right,
an eye just
right.
because of the
That's
way the
true.
world is. But in that
Right.
era, he couldn't.
That's true.
And
That's
you
true.
had to
Yeah.
hold on to that, you know what I mean, like that persona. You can't just after all that time come out and say, well, guess what, guys, this whole time I
Right.
like butt. You know what I mean? You can't pause. I can't believe I said that.
Well, I
Yeah.
don't think they'd say it like that.
But
I
you
don't
get what
think
I'm
they
saying
say it
though? You
that way.
can't come out and just say that shit after
Look
all
at
that
Wayne
this
Brady
time.
though.
Look at who?
He did Wayne Brady all this
Who?
Oh
time.
yeah,
He
Wayne just came out.
Wayne
Yeah.
Brady.
Wayne Brady.
Wayne Brady.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
he came out and just
That's
said,
really
it's
not
a
a
it's a
surprise.
he
it's a
said,
difference when you're hip hip hop culture was so
I know
masculinity
what you're saying.
driven. You know what I mean?
Right,
Yeah.
right,
And
right.
and so Wayne Brady was never really part of that dynamic, but it's such a masculine dynamic where he could have if he came out 20 years ago and said that he would have ruined his career. He
Yeah.
really would have ruined his own career just by
It's
being
true.
himself.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah. There's no way
you know what I'm
that wouldn't
saying?
have
But
worked.
now we aren't even really blinking an eye at the possibility of him and other men. It's not even a you know what I mean? No one even cares about that. But 20 years ago they would have. And that's why he couldn't have said it. So he had to do it behind closed doors.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, even at this point now, right? If Diddy was come out, let's say he was never indicted, but he just came out and said he was bisexual or gay. I don't know if he would have been able to still be able to sell records.
I think now you saying?
Yeah,
Now,
I'm wondering.
if he came out
You
I
now,
think
think it
now
would
he
But
put?
would
he
have.
I
ain't,
I
think
he
it
think
would
ain't,
be a
he
I
ain't
thing.
selling
think
records
now he
anyway.
would have opened up he would have got a brand new
Yeah,
audience. To be honest with you.
He ain't
yeah.
He
selling
would have
I
records
got a
think he
anyway.
he would
actually
have
would
got
have
a whole
increased in
alphabet community
popularity.
audience if he came out and said, "Yo, this is me."
Mhm.
Yeah, I think he would have actually increased in
He
popularity.
he would have had a lot of sales, bro.
Yeah,
Hmm.
maybe so. Maybe so. I mean,
I think that's probably what happened.
Just only
That's what I
because the
think.
world is more accepting of everybody's lifestyle now. So
Yeah,
if he'd have said it back then,
yeah,
he would have lost a bunch. A lot of
yeah,
fans would have steered away. But if he said it
yeah,
now, if he came out 3 years ago and was like, you know what, I've been living a lie. This is who I am, and I want to live in my truth, and did that, bro, his fan base would have went up. He would have been the grand marshal at all the LGB parades. He'd have been. he would have been, his fan base would have skyrocketed.
I do feel disgust towards him because of that Cassie video. Anyone who's going to, abuse a woman like that so brutally earns my disgust. That unfortunately, or well, fortunately, maybe I don't know however you look at it, it lends it lends some validity to other charges that have allegations that have been made against him with regards to at least some abusive and controlling behavior. So it's not
Right.
that far fetched to believe that he would hold somebody captive,
That's
because he
true.
feels like, hey, I'm Puffy, I can do this. You don't walk away from me. You don't turn your back on me. For you to run down the hall in a towel, that speaks a lot about his ego. Like, I will run down this hallway in a towel to prove that I am so big, I am so powerful. Bitch, do you know who I am? That's what he's saying right there. And that action alone, it's like, do you know who I am? You don't turn your back on me. You don't walk away from me. I can run down the hallway of a video recorded hotel room and think nothing's going to happen to me because who I am. This
Yeah.
isn't going to get out. He thinks he's so far above repercussions that he'd be willing to behave that way knowing it's being video recorded. That
Yeah.
speaks to the level of arrogance that he has and this false sense of power and being above the law. So, you know what? People making these allegations against him, I believe a lot of it's true, but could it open the door to false allegations? Absolutely. But he dug that hole for himself. When you do what you do, when you're a celebrity and you do a bunch of messed up shit and people start coming for you, now you open the door for the truth and the fakers as well. So he did it to himself.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact. And at the end of the day, when you said earlier about our black celebrities, I'll be honest with you. I'm a little bit sad, not for him, but just sad by the fact of like somebody who did so much. And you know what? Let me take it back. I'm a little bit sad because it's more of a reality check. Sometimes people who you think people aren't who they actually are. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times, you go your whole life with certain people who are part of the culture and you kind of see them a certain way, and then you're like, oh, this person isn't anything like I actually thought they were. You know what I'm saying? So
Same with
I,
Bill Cosby. I mean, think about how disappointed a lot of people were to hear these allegations against him, to see him get convicted. Because I mean, before this stuff came out, I didn't know any of this stuff. I'd never heard any of these things. I had Bill Cosby sort of on a pedestal. I mean, he's Cliff Huxtable. Who
yeah,
didn't love Cliff Huxtable as a father? And to know that he's doing these things, it's highly disappointing because it is, you are a little bit. It is saddening because it's almost like you feel a loss of what could have and should have been.
right,
Should have been a positive role model, a positive icon, someone in black celebrity that could have been and should have been looked up
right.
to give, you know, African Americans that positive, you know,
If we was gonna
that positive person in entertainment.
if we was gonna lock him up for anything, it should have been Leonard Part Six. That movie was horrible.
What movie?
Leonard Part Six. You ever watch that shit?
I never even heard of that. I
Leonard
don't think I want to
Parsons.
hear
I
about
don't.
it.
Listen,
Yeah,
listen,
You said Leonard
listen.
Part 6?
It's called Leonard Part Six.
part
Bill
six.
Part
But I
Cosby.
didn't know there was a part one.
Is there a part
There
1?
wasn't. There wasn't a part one, two, three, four, or five.
I
But the
don't even
movie
want to
is
know.
Oh,
called Leonard Part Six. Oh, you know what I'm talking about? That bro, lock
when did
his
this
ass
come
up
out
for
in the
that.
'70s?
To
Nah,
this, no, it was like
you know
he
what
was
was
in full Cliff Huxtable era when this popped out.
was
When
it?
it came out, it was like 1990, 91 ish. Like
Listen, I didn't like the after the Cosby show was over. I didn't like that other show they did. I don't think it's called the
it
Cosby
was called
show.
Cotton. It was called Cotton.
That was just weird all the way around.
Yeah,
Yeah,
should
it
have locked him up
wasn't.
for
It
that too.
wasn't.
Yeah.
Well, that got there's a reason that got canceled.
Hey, but did y'all see? It was like a bunch of CEOs who have now resigned from
Yeah.
different companies since the Trump thing.
Hmm.
Yeah, a lot of people stepping aside like now they know what they see something coming.
Bruh.
And so when people look at the image of you look at Puff now and what he's going with, and that image pops in your head.
Right.
But and I'm not saying, and maybe that's what the judge had in his mind, is what I'm saying. But it's really not fair to if he's not in, if that's not the crime he's in jail for. We can't look at anything outside of what he is locked up for when determining if
Right.
bail is going to be assessed or not. And I
Right.
just feel like they're looking at everything in total, all the recent news, even if something that isn't a part of this particular case, in making that assessment.
Him being a high profile person, I don't think that he's a flight risk. I really don't, because he's a if they were to release him on bond, they would have him under surveillance. Somebody in the government would always know where he was. Number
Yeah,
one. Number two, if they made him surrender his passport, it would be extremely difficult for him to enter any country. He's too well known. So
exactly.
even if he were to, let's say, disappear in the middle of the night and arrive in some country, he'd be on the internet.
Yeah.
Somebody somewhere would
There's
recognize him. It
nowhere in
just,
the world he can go where
I
he's not
just
P
no.
Diddy
I
or
so
Puff Daddy or Puff or
I
Sean
just
John. You're known everywhere,
yeah.
Yeah. There's
I
nowhere you
just
can
don't
hide.
think that him being a flight risk
brother.
is
Love.
a valid
Yeah,
reason.
yeah.
I don't think that that would work.
Yeah, you can't hide now, man. It could be the far corner of
Nah.
the world where there's no running water, people living in shacks. Somebody still got a cell phone.
They gonna know you. Oh, Puff
You're
Daddy.
right.
Yeah, they gonna know you.
Right. That's right.
Ain't nowhere to
There's
hide,
no
man.
there. He's not going to hide nowhere. I don't think that. Frankly, I don't think that that would benefit him in any way. I think that he seems like the type of person that when push comes to shove, he would probably flip and try to cut some kind of deal, try to minimize. He seems like, and I don't know, this is just my speculation. He just seems like the type of person who would try to do damage control in some sort of way. I think that's the reason why he came out with that whole apology to Cassie. I don't think that it was because he really felt, oh, he's so sorry, he's so disgusted. That was about damage control,
Yeah,
because you've
absolutely,
been treating her like this.
absolutely.
You've been treating her like this for the longest time,
Yeah.
and now you're sorry. Now you're disgusted by it when you
Hmm.
did it and all this other bullshit that he said on camera. That was about damage control. That was about trying to
I
salvage
was
whatever
fucked up. I was
reputation he
at my
thought he had
lowest.
left.
I was at my lowest.
That was
I
at
was
your lowest.
disgusted then and I'm
I'm
disgusted now.
disgusted.
I don't think he'll get a I don't think he'll get offered a plea unless there's somebody more powerful that he can offer, but who knows? But I think he's gonna end up likely. It's sad because he's gonna
I
end
think
up.
if he's got a good team of lawyers, I think that they would probably sit down and try to negotiate some sort of plea deal.
Yeah, but even if they do a plea, I mean the charges he's facing are so serious that even a plea he probably be sitting on like 20 years or something because
Better than getting like 100 years.
Because
that's
one of
true.
those
If he
charges
got
has
20,
a
if
maximum
he
of a
got
life
20
sentence. I think the
years,
racketeering charge is up to is like maximum life.
it's up to
Yeah,
life.
if he's found
But
guilty, he's definitely
let's say he were to plead, if he were, but see if, but like you said, he knows things, and if they can get other high profile people, and he can, you know, I don't know if he can worm his way out of it some kind of way to where he might have a chance at getting out at some point. That would
But
probably be
here's
the
the
smartest
issue.
move.
The issue is that even if there's high profile people involved, it don't they may have just participated in the party, but they didn't commit a crime. They just was in the party. You know what I'm saying?
Who knows?
So
Well, if you are there participating in sexual acts with people that you know are have been drugged and that you know prostitution is going
but they
on,
have
then there's some complicity in that.
no, but okay, so that's a good point. But I think they would have to prove that those people knew that. So if the people who might be there participating in the sex might just be like, okay, I was just at an orgy. I don't know how they got here, how they got paid, and you know what I mean? Like it's like
And hypothetically, what if I'm the feds and I got a bigger fish that I'm looking at, and I just happen to know he was at your parties? I know that you have information. You know what I mean? If you can give me information about this particular person, who I might also be looking at, but nobody knows about it yet, then maybe we can walk you down a little bit.
Yeah.
But because you just don't know, there might be,
Yeah.
they may have been there, but if you were there, then you might have some information that can be useful to me in a different investigation.